You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. Football Tigers are back on the practice field on Thursday. And some good news from Jump is that Sydir Mitchell, the big transfer defensive lineman from Texas, was back out there. If you missed it on Tuesday, the Tigers were coming back from spring break, and they were running a 2-on-1 drill, a double team drill, 2 offensive linemen, 1 defensive tackle. And Sydir Mitchell kind of got his leg tangled up. He had to be assisted off the field to the injury tent. That's obviously always very concerning, especially when big guys like that go down, can't put weight on their leg. At a position that you're really counting on Mitchell coming in and being a key contributor, especially just as you're welcoming Jacobian Guillory back, a guy who missed all but 2 games a season ago with the ruptured Achilles. Well, the great news is that Sydir Mitchell was back out there, full pads, full go, 100%. We've talked a good bit about Sydir Mitchell throughout this spring because that is such a key spot where you've got numbers which you don't have as great experience. So you're going to be asking somebody or multiple players to do something which they might be capable of doing, they just have never done before. Similar to what you're asking your offensive tackles with Tyree Adams and Weston Davis. Well, so too with the defensive line, where Guillory is your most experienced defensive lineman. He's played in 41 games, but he only has 5 career starts. Sydir Mitchell has played in fewer than 50 snaps in 2 seasons at Texas. Last year was 36 snaps total in the season last year at Texas. Sean Washington was a JUCO guy, at Georgia, JUCO, LSU, played in 12 games a year ago, but very limited snaps. You're asking McKinley and Bro stepping up from their freshman year to their sophomore year. You got 4 true freshmen coming in. It's part of the reason why when we talked about the transfer portal here in the spring, that's a spot where LSU could be looking for an impact guy, not a body. They got 9 scholarship interior players. They don't need bodies. They might need a guy who's a proven starter, like a 20-game, 30-game starter at the Power 5 level or Power 4 level. But an injury changes the math for you on the defensive line. So great to see Sydir Mitchell back. And that, of course, coincides with Jacobian Guillory returning. And Guillory was back at practice on Tuesday, practicing again on Thursday. And after practice on Thursday, Jacobian Guillory did kind of talk to the media about how he felt being back out there after being sort of incapacitated since September the 7th when he went down with that ruptured Achilles against Nichols.
Shoot, it's a blessing, man. Really, you know what I'm saying, not like when I went down, I wasn't expecting it, like to be as bad as it was. So like just to fight from all the, just everything I've overcome, you know what I'm saying, like just the battles with I would say like the treatment, like the rehab afterwards. Like it's been up and down, but like lately it's been up, and I'm feeling like closer to that 100% mark. So it's just a blessing.
Remember, he's 6 months removed from a ruptured Achilles. That's usually a 6 to 9 month recovery. That should put him full on 100% go for the start of fall camp at the end of July, beginning of August, whenever that date ends up being set. But we expect he should be a full go. And of course, he's joining a room with a new defensive line coach in Kyle Williams. And remember the context here with Jacobian. Jacobian Guillory has had a different defensive line coach every year he's been at LSU. When he came here, Andre Carter was the defensive line coach. And then you were looking at Jamar Cain, and then Gerald Chapman, and then Jimmy Lindsey, and then they brought in Pete Jenkins. And of course, what happened a year ago when Jimmy Lindsey got sick and John Jancic went into that role. I mean, that's 6 right there. And then obviously Bo Davis a year ago was 7. This will be his 8th his 8th defensive line coach since he's been at LSU. It's a staggering number to think. So it's a lot of different voices. And look, Jacobian was in studio with us several months ago when he was kind of going through his rehab and recovery. And he talked about how it's actually been a blessing. He spun it beautifully so as to say, I've been able to take something from so many different coaches with different approaches. But here's another one now with Kyle Williams. And this is what Jacobian had to say on what he's seen so far through spring with Kyle Williams at the helm.
What I see in the group is like guys that want to come to work and are willing to work every day. You know what I'm saying? It might not be perfect every day, but the guys that come in the room that are willing to get it right is, I mean, you can't ask for a better room than that. Just guys that are willing to be perfect. And with Kyle, I mean, his mentality, you know, he heard him out there screaming today, like his mentality is like, that's him 24/7. He doesn't fake it. Like what you see, like him yelling and stuff, that's legit him. So like everything, I think he's just going to take us to a whole nother level just mentally. And that's, I think, was what we really needed.
Dude with an absolute ton of experience in Jacobian Guillory in that room. And he had one more expounding there on Kyle Williams.
I mean, for me, I'm older, obviously. So when I was a recruit, Coach O compared me to Kyle Williams. So I looked him up when I got home, and I've been a Kyle Williams fan ever since. So for me, it's a full circle moment. And I talked to Ahmad, which he was his coach at high school, and I talked to Ahmad, and he said he was a great coach, and I trust Ahmad. So it's been nothing but greatness every single day. Like he's just been attacking that mindset. That's what we need, is a better mindset.
And one more from Jacobian Guillory. It's a fun story, though, to hear him talk about Coach O comparing him to Kyle Williams. Their builds are actually similar. Kyle's a little shorter than Jacobian, but where they play sort of on the interior of that defensive line and how they play as guys that can actually get a push up the middle does sort of comp, and you could see how Kyle, the relatability there, but also Kyle's ability to teach what he did to Jacobian could be very profitable for LSU, very fruitful. But one more. Jacobian was asked about the young guys and who's been impressing him so far.
Ahmad, bro. Oh, my God. I mean, me and Ahmad had a talk around, like, was he early? I can't remember if he was early or not, but we talked, and, like, you know, he's shorter than me. And I told him, like, playing a short man game, you'd much rather play the short man game. And I think he's, like, really held on to that. And he's not, like, he's the shortest guy out there, but he's the quickest, he's the fattest, he's gonna run the hardest, he's gonna burn the most calories during practice. So, like, just upholding him and, like, having him, like, that mental part I was talking about. Once he finds out that mental part of the game, he's gonna go to a whole new level. And I say that about Ahmad, but the whole defensive line is just like that.
Remember, Ahmad Bro, that's high praise, by the way. Ahmad Bro is listed at 6'3", 280 right now on the official LSU roster. Bro came in as a defensive end, and they moved him to defensive tackle. So remember famously, Ahmad Bro last year gave his Whataburger order where, what did he say? Like 6, I don't even know, jalapeno, cheddar, bacon, whatever. I don't even know what it was. 6 large fries. I want to find that too, because if Ahmad Bro has a good year, please find that. Anyway, talked about his Whataburger order, and like that's a big way of how he put on so much weight. And then when Tank went down, you had the offensive line shuffle. Like everybody started playing out of position, right? I mean, Paez had to play the zero technique, and Paris Shan move inside, and then Ahmad Bro had to play as a true freshman. Look, he played pretty well, but now you're talking about a guy in Bro and Don McKinley who you expect to take really big leaps in year 2. So just a little there on the LSU defensive line, just something to keep an eye on as well when you're out at the open spring practice on Saturday. Remember, it's not a spring game, but we've talked about that plenty, but there's no TV and no radio. So, in the past, spring game has been televised, so this is just an open practice where you go out to Tiger Stadium, you're going to watch them practice in Tiger Stadium, then there's an interview session afterwards. So we'll be out there. Can't make it. We'll certainly tell you what we saw. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact, and be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.